Okay, let's jump right in. For so many highly skilled professionals out there, trying to get US work authorization honestly feels a bit like, well, rolling the dice at a casino. You put in the years of hard work, you have the incredible skills, but your fate, it's just decided by a completely random draw. Well, today in this explainer, we are going to completely shatter that narrative. We're going to explore exactly how top-tier professionals are bypassing that luck of the draw entirely and how they use the O-1 visa not just as a quick fix, but as a deliberate, highly strategic bridge to a permanent EB-1A green card. Just look at this number for a second, 14.6%. That was the actual H-1B selection rate for fiscal year 2024. The system saw roughly 780,000 registrations, all fiercely fighting for just 85,000 available spots. That literally means the vast majority of incredibly talented people were just left completely stranded. Their career plans derailed simply because their number wasn't pulled from a hat. It's an incredibly frustrating system to navigate if you're relying on it to build your life. But I want you to contrast that with this staggering figure. 47,000. That's the number of approved O-1 petitions in that exact same fiscal year, which, by the way, is a 28% jump from 2021. Now, the O-1 is the visa for individuals with extraordinary ability or achievement. And here is the absolute magic of it. There's no annual cap, there is zero lottery, and there's no strict prevailing wage requirement dictated by the government. If you qualify, you get the visa. It's 100% based on merit, not chance. So here is our roadmap for building your strategic bridge. We'll be covering escaping the visa lottery, unlocking the O-1 categories, the strategic green card bridge, building your evidence portfolio, essential procedural requirements, closing the profile gap. Let's start with Section 1, escaping the visa lottery and the O-1 advantage. If you actually meet the extraordinary ability standard, the advantages completely change your timeline. I mean, it's a real game changer. You can have an employer or agent file your petition literally any month of the year. No more agonizingly waiting around for that April lottery window. Plus, if you pay the premium processing fee, which sits at around $2,800 right now, the government guarantees a substantive response in just 15 business days. Think about that. You can go from filing your paperwork to beginning your work in the US in a matter of weeks with absolutely zero luck involved. And while the initial grant is usually up to 3 years, you can keep getting unlimited 1-year extensions as long as you continue to qualify. Moving right along to Section 2, unlocking the O-1 categories and figuring out which track is yours. So the O-1 is essentially split into 2 primary tracks. You've got the O-1A for sciences, education, business, and athletics, and then the O-1B, which is for the arts, motion pictures, and television. Now, for a lot of traditional roles, your category is a total no-brainer. But what if you're a creative professional working right at the intersection of tech and art, like a UX designer or a video game composer? You might actually qualify for either one. Evaluating which track is going to produce the stronger case based on your specific evidence is a massive, absolutely crucial strategic choice you need to make early on. And here is why that choice matters so much. The exact words the government uses here dictate everything. O-1A is undeniably the tougher, more demanding track. You have to prove you're part of that tiny percentage of people who've risen to the very top of the field. It is an elite standard. Meanwhile, O-1B for the arts operates on a slightly lower standard called distinction, meaning your skill and recognition are substantially above what is ordinarily encountered. There's also a middle tier for TV and film requiring extraordinary achievement. Knowing exactly which legal standard applies to your story is how you secure that approval. All right, Section 3, the strategic green card bridge, or what we like to call the master matrix. Okay, this is where it gets really good. The secret here is a concept we'll call double duty. If you look at the evidence area criteria for the temporary O-1A and the permanent EB-1A, they are almost perfectly aligned. Whether we're talking about prizes, judging, peer reviews, or published materials, the legal requirements mirror each other. This means every single piece of evidence you painstakingly build for your O-1A petition becomes the exact foundation for your future EB-1A case. You aren't doing the work twice. You are literally building an asset right now that pays dividends down the road. But you might be wondering if the criteria are identical. Why are the approval rates so different? Historically, O-1 as see a 90 to 93% approval rate, while EB-1As hover around 50 to 60%. Well, it all comes down to the final merits determination. Think of it like this. The O-1A is just a snapshot. It's asking, are you extraordinary right now? The EB-1A, that is the feature-length movie, it requires a sustained historical track record of international acclaim over time. Makes sense? Because of that fundamental difference between the snapshot and the movie, the absolute smartest strategy if you aren't quite ready for a green card is this deliberate three-step playbook. Step 1, get your O-1A so you can start working in the US immediately. Step 2, use those initial 3 years to build out that sustained historical record. And step 3, file the EB-1A. When you finally file it, your previously approved O-1A basically acts as persuasive precedent. The government has already agreed you're extraordinary once, which gives you a massive leg up. Section 4, building your evidence portfolio and maximizing the U.S. advantage. So while you're living and working on your O-1, here is your immediate to-do list. You need to focus relentlessly on U.S.-based acclaim. If you're already working in America, adjudicators are going to look for domestic recognition. So use this time to publish papers in index journals and let those citations accumulate. Network like crazy to secure independent expert letters from U.S.-based authorities. And I mean objective experts, not just people you've worked with. Get U.S. media coverage, win U.S. awards. You are using your temporary access to the U.S. ecosystem to make your permanent green card case completely bulletproof. Moving to Section 5, essential procedural requirements, or as I like to say, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Now, unlike the EB-1A, where you can self-petition entirely on your own behalf, the O-1 strictly requires a U.S. employer or a U.S. agent to file the paperwork for you. If you have a traditional job, your company handles the whole shebang, but freelancers or folks with multiple gigs have to use a U.S. agent who assumes legal responsibility for the arrangement. Second, you absolutely have to map out exactly what you'll be doing in the U.S. with a detailed itinerary of services for your entire stay. And third, you need what's called an advisory opinion. Let's clear something up right now, because there is a massive misconception about this specific document. An advisory opinion is not just a standard nice recommendation letter saying you're a great employee. Nope. The government will actively reject templated cookie-cutter letters. Your advisory opinion has to come from a relevant labor organization, a peer group, or 3 recognized experts, and it has to explicitly argue that you meet the strict legal standard of extraordinary ability. It's got to speak the language of the law, not just the language of professional praise. And finally, Section 6, closing the profile gap and the real danger of underpreparation. Listen, even though the overall approval rate for the O-1 remains super high, requests for evidence, or RFEs, have actually jumped from about 15% in 2020 to roughly 23% recently. And what that proves is that the government is applying a much more rigorous final merits analysis. If you just try to scrape by with 3 weak pieces of evidence, like a single publication or some minor local award, you might get past step 1, but you will definitely fail the final merits test, exactly like you would for a green card. So here is your ultimate takeaway for this entire explainer. You cannot fake extraordinary ability. The O-1 is not some magical workaround for people who just aren't ready yet. It is a genuine, rigorous legal determination. To succeed, you have to meticulously build your case before you ever even think about filing the petition. Your evidence needs to be dense, varied, and unequivocally prove that you are at the very top of your field or have true distinction. So as we wrap things up today, I want to leave you with this one final thought to consider for your own professional journey. Are you going to just wait around betting your entire career on the random draw of a 14% lottery system? Or are you ready to take control, assemble your evidence, and deliberately build your own strategic bridge to permanent success in the United States? The pathway is right there. But the strategy? Well, that's entirely up to you.